Is it recording? Counting down? It's gonna be the old pro job. Oh, helps if I turn the microphone on. Always professional.
Extremely.
Here, guys. Hey everyone, Stefan here. I've got a little bit of a different video for you today. I have the honor of being joined by Jordan from EverydAI. Of course, her fantastic channel is in the pinned comment and description down below. Also, KhAnubis of KhAnubis channel is joining me. He is here in a strictly technical capacity so far, manning the camera, but who knows if the inspiration will take him and he can hop on here. So, if you've been following my channel, you just know that I've released a video on the supposed intelligence or lack thereof of Neanderthals. And whilst Jordan was here in town, I thought it'd be fun to compare the evidence we have of Neanderthal intelligence to AI. So that's what we're going to do.
Cool. Sounds good.
So, yeah, do you want to introduce your channel or and
Sure, I can.
stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, take the fork, laugh mic.
Yeah, I really love this setup. I'm Jordan. I have a YouTube channel called EverydAI. It's spelled EverydAI, which I'm guessing a lot of people pronounce it that way too, because that's always how people come up to me. It focuses on how we interact with AI every day, so from the good to the bad, from the technical to the less technical, whatever I find interesting that week. And I'm here to talk about how AI compares to human, I guess, intelligence.
Yeah. Or Neanderthal intelligence.
Yeah. So in general, humans, we talk to each other. Surprisingly enough, AI can actually talk to you. So you see this in a lot of things like chatbots, where you're typing something in and it comes up with a response based on what you said and learning from conversations that it's basically read over, and that's like thousands or millions of conversations. And usually it's in the form of some sort of like web interface, but I actually did a video on this. There's this robot called Sophia, where it has a like face and eyes and it like looks like a human, and it's a citizen of some country. I can't remember which one, but it's very much like interacting with a real human in a lot of ways. So you can definitely talk to an AI.
Is it? Would I be able to tell, do you think, that I was speaking to an AI?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question. So there's this thing called the Turing test, which basically says that if a certain number of people can't distinguish between talking to a human via chat and like talking to an AI via chat, then the AI has like human level intelligence or some form of intelligence. Yeah. And so you can usually tell, unless you're using like a particularly sophisticated chatbot, it's often somewhat obvious that the responses are a little bit canned. So it kind of knows that like if you say sentences that convey this general sentiment, it should respond with a sentence with this general sentiment. But robots like Sophia that use AI can definitely produce more nuanced responses that would be a lot harder to distinguish from a regular person.
Interesting, yeah, because the...
Do you want your fork?
Sure, yeah, I'll take my fork back. I'm not sure if you can hear me with this setup. Yeah, that was one of the big debates in archaeology, anthropology, evolutionary anthropology. Could we talk to Neanderthals? Did they have language? We're pretty confident they did now. But yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if I could tell if I was speaking to an AI. And whilst we're on that subject, so Neanderthals lived in groups probably as large as humans and probably had complicated social interactions that went along with that. Do AI speak to each other? AI produced by different organizations, universities, do they speak to each other in any capacity? Please take the fork.
This is like the talking fork. So I guess AIs from like different universities don't talk to each other in the sense that like there's not like a club where they all like go on the internet and like they all like hang out. Yeah. That I'm aware of. That might be a secret club, I don't know. But you can have AI respond to things that have been said by another AI. So you could like put two chatbots in a room together and see what happens. It often devolves rather quickly. So for whatever reason, AI isn't good at responding to other AI. You either kind of get into gibberish or you go in circles. And I'm not entirely sure why that is. I suspect that that's just because if you're using a finite number of conversations, then there's a limit to how far a conversation can go. But they definitely can talk to each other. And an interesting example of this is there was a video where somebody used deepfakes, which basically allow you to take the voice and the facial movements of one person and map it onto another person's face. And they used it to have like two past presidents talk to each other. And it did not go great, but it was extremely entertaining.
What kind of things did they say when it...
Oh man, I don't remember off the top.
It just descend into nonsense.
Yeah, it descended into nonsense pretty quickly. It's kind of like, what was that? I think it was either probably Microsoft, released a chatbot on like Twitter. Yeah. Within like an hour, it was like racist, sexist, and like a Nazi. And that's only because it only learned from conversations it had with people on Twitter. And so like that's, I guess, a reflection of Twitter. So yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Fork back.
And okay, so I think that's point one for the Neanderthals there. I think they did successfully talk to each other without devolving into gibberish, although we don't know for sure. Yeah, we haven't spoken to any. But okay, and finally then, the other evidence we have for Neanderthal intelligence is the tools that they produce and any sort of symbolic behavior that they leave behind, like ritual artifacts. And seems like the Neanderthals did produce pretty complex tools, and they produced tools to make tools, which is an extra cognitive leap on what came before. And they had some sort of symbolic behavior. So do AI produce things, perhaps using a 3D printer, perhaps works of art, poetry, books? Have AI produced anything like that?
Yeah. So I had a video on art specifically, and essentially what you can do is train AI to look at a bunch of different paintings and then generate its own painting. So there was an AI generated painting that sold for like tens of thousands of dollars at a Sotheby's auction last year. So it can definitely create art. You don't see as much in terms of things like 3D printing, but you do see, I guess, behavioral tools. Yeah. So there's a field of AI called reinforcement learning, and essentially what it relies on is, instead of kind of telling a model how to get to an answer, it tells it what the answer is, and it can learn whatever way to get there it wants. And so the biggest example of this that you may have seen is the video of like that stick figure trying to learn how to walk and run. And it looks absolutely ridiculous because that's not how people work. But that was an example of where the AI was tasked to get this stick figure through this obstacle course, and it learned like locomotion and movement in whatever way was most efficient. So you see a lot of kind of behavioral learning, and in that sense, where you give AI a goal and you let it figure out what behaviors it needs to get there. A recent one was they got a robot arm to like figure out how to like throw different objects into a basket that's like far away, and it had to learn like how do you throw because it didn't know how to throw yet. And so yeah, you can teach it behaviors, but building physical objects isn't really something I've seen so far.
How long did it take to throw the ball in the trash can? Does it take a while for these things to learn?
Oh yeah, definitely. It took a while. I don't know how long the robot arm took. I know that like OpenAI, which is a company based out of San Francisco, developed a AI that can like play the game Dota 2 really well, and that's known as being one of the big AI challenges. And what they did was something similar, and that took like at least several weeks to train.
Oh, really?
So like it's not a short process.
And I guess that's running 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Doesn't take a break.
No. So yeah, you can. Not as fast as us in a lot of ways, and not as useful for real life situations if you like need to learn how to throw a ball or something.
Yeah.
But it can, and it's getting faster.
Fair enough.
To be fair, though, it does take a while for humans to learn those skills as well. So.
Yeah.
It can take a human a while to throw a ball. Not me. I'm actually really good at it, and that's no lie. I've got a great throw. But yeah, I'm not sure how to judge that one. I'm sure AI is capable of learning much more things than Neanderthals, but Neanderthals could walk. We're very confident of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, an AI can only learn like one thing. So it learns how to throw a ball, but it doesn't learn how to catch it. That's like a whole other algorithm.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can't do that.
Throw and catch.
Throw and catch. I'm strictly a thrower.
Maybe the AI wins then.
Yeah, there we go. All right, well, I don't have anything to add. KhAnubis, do you want to hop on the lav mic? Which would you, cameo, which would you take to the pub? Which would have a more fulfilling conversation, do you think? Neanderthal or AI?
Well, I mean, you gotta consider that, if I'm taking an AI versus a Neanderthal, is the Neanderthal really versed in modern English?
Yeah, but does the AI drink?
The AI drinks, but the Neanderthal has just been transported from the Paleolithic. He can't speak, he can't do anything.
Yeah, so if that's the case, then obviously the choice would go to AI.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Can't have a conversation, I mean.
Well, I still like archaeology, guys. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me on the bench here whilst you're passing through Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Check out Jordan's channel and KhAnubis' channel in the description. I'm going to grab my wife. She's sitting right behind the camera as well. Skiddly-doo. See ya. I think that